Hey, what's going on, Black people? I hope you guys are having a good day. Give me 1 second here. I am ready to start off today's version of Dr. Boyce TV. This is the place where Black people get together and we have the kinds of conversations that Black people don't get to have in public. In fact, being Black in public is seen by many to be a heinous crime. Being Black and intelligent is seen as a double crime. And we're here to just commit all kinds of felonies because we are hella intelligent, hella Black, hella proud, and not scared of nobody, not scared of nobody. And so that's kind of what we do. That's how we operate. That's how we roll. And I'm really happy that you guys are hanging out with me. Do me a favor real quick as we get started. I have an interesting topic I want to kind of hit today. Go ahead, if you are watching anywhere on social media, make sure you hit the like button, the share button, and the subscribe button and all that good stuff so that other people can know about this conversation. We are on a mission. We're on a mission, a lifelong mission, to make sure that there is a good, strong Black media out here, independent Black media, free Black media, not the kind of coonery that you see on TV, not the kind of stuff that's being perpetuated, the false images of Black people that are being perpetuated through media. We are actually trying to prove to the world and to ourselves that Black people are better and more capable than pretty much everybody else on earth. So you are the chosen people, you are special, and it ain't nothing you can do to change my mind on that. I see my man Warren Ballantyne is watching. Warren Ballantyne is another brilliant guy. And Warren is actually, I think Warren will probably have a lot to say about this topic because this actually relates to legal issues. It relates to false accusations. Warren actually was a person who was victimized by a false accusation at one point. And during that time, I think Warren is a perfect prototype of exactly what we're talking about today. There was a time where he was sort of tied into these federal charges having to do with, I believe it had to do with lending fraud or something like that. And basically the details of the case just didn't match up. I kind of did my research on it and talked to some people, and I said, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. At the very least, I think we need to investigate a little bit further. And when I looked into it, I came to the conclusion that I didn't think Warren did it, and so I stood by him the whole time, stood by him while he went through it. When he got out, I stood by him, and I'll tell you what, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people ran away when they saw this Black man under the dark veil of white suspicion. When they see a Black man who's been accused of something, there are people who will treat you as if you already are a criminal. They will act as if that is your conviction. That is your conviction. And I don't know why people don't understand this. I don't know why people act like the shit don't happen. I don't know why people act like I'm talking out the side of my neck, or I'm talking crazy, or this don't make no sense. Anybody with one neuron in their skull, one brain cell in their head, knows that history has shown, without any doubt, that Black men have been the target of false accusations for many, many, many years. Now, it does not mean that Black men can't commit crimes, though. Y'all know that too. Anybody in the Black community knows you got some ignorant Negroes out here that'll do some horrible things to people, and they need to be dealt with. But what does not occur is the discernment necessary to separate the true criminals from those who have simply been victimized by somebody else's lie. And I'm gonna tell you, remember, that's how Black Wall Street got burned down. Black Wall Street got burned down over a white woman's lie. 300 people got murdered over that white woman's lie. Hundreds of people got murdered. Little babies got burned up, shot up, everything else, because this white woman told a lie. And given that we know all this history, it's fascinating to me that many people, Black, white, otherwise, many people in the liberal establishment, these people that are supposed to be your friends, still want to hold on to this myth that white women just don't lie. That oh no, if she makes an accusation, then you can't question the victim and you must believe her. And no, you don't go on faith when you talk about somebody's life. You don't go off of, well, I just believe you, and then have somebody going off to prison. You don't do that. You just don't do that, you idiot. You don't do that. And so anyway, I wanted to talk today about a brother that teaches at Harvard University that you may or may not know about him. It's kind of weird to talk about him because I'm gonna be just honest with you. From a ideological standpoint, me and him would probably be a little bit like oil and water. I respect him though. I respect his intellect. I respect what he's accomplished. But at the same time, you know, the kind of guy he is, I'm not, I don't roll with that, right? His name is Roland Fryer. Roland is he's a hotshot economist at Harvard University. He actually got tenure at a very early age. He's a full professor at Harvard, and he actually was the first black man in history to win the John Bates Clark Medal in economics. The John Bates Clark Medal is literally second to the Nobel Prize in economics, and I know about this because his field, economics and finance, are like brother and sister. So his field is right next to my field. And when I heard about him, I heard what he did. I was very, very proud of him. I was very, very impressed. And I think the guy's brilliant. What I would also say, and this is why I'm gonna go into this. It almost reminds me of talking about Bill Cosby or O.J. Simpson in the sense that I don't like Bill, I don't like O.J., but I was defending Bill and O.J. And I said, God, I hate defending somebody that I don't even like. So in Roland's case, he's not as bad as Bill or as bad as OJ, because I really do believe OJ killed Nicole. I do believe Bill Cosby did some stuff he wasn't supposed to do. Roland's situation is not as bad, but there's a common trend here. The common trend is white supremacy. And when white folks come get you, they don't really care if you are the house Negro or the field Negro sometimes. When white folks get mad and they form lynch mobs to come get your black ass, they don't care if you're the conservative or the liberal. They don't care if you Democrat or Republican. They don't care if you're Boyce Watkins or a Roland Fryer. They're going to take you all out because they really wanted your mama to abort you before you were born so that you would never have to be a factor anyway, right? That's the real agenda. But anyway, because black male extermination has always been on the menu for America. It's still on the menu to this day. Protect your sons unless you're crazy and not smart, in which case your children will be vulnerable. So Roland, I don't agree with Roland Fryer because Roland Fryer has done some stuff and said some stuff that I just didn't quite get. I think he has a think tank at Harvard where he actually published a study where, and I have to read the details of it, but basically his conclusion was that police shootings are not racially driven, that race is not a key factor in the police shootings, which, I mean, come on, really? It's just one of those things like really, you needed years of analysis and all this data to tell you something that is absolutely the craziest thing that I've ever heard. I'd like to read the study and look at the analysis, but at the end of the day, we know we're black and we know that being black does mean something when it comes to interacting with the police. So I think that the idea that a black man would write a study like that and use his black think tank at Harvard to publish studies like that speaks to the idea. It speaks to the idea that black people who tend to do well within the white supremacist system tend to be black people who support that system, right? Black people who tend to prosper within white supremacist systems tend to be people who are doing things that are in alignment with the system. Why is that? Well, because if you are doing things that are in contradiction to the system, then the system will spit you out. The system will kick you out. If you are the CEO of an oil company and the system says we need to make as much money as possible selling oil, and you come in and you say, well, I want to sell fried chicken instead, well, the system's going to kick you out. You won't be the CEO for very long. You won't go very far in that company because you are not doing things that are in alignment with the ideology that drives that system. So, to some extent, even though I do think Roland Fryer is brilliant, I think that his work is good. I don't think anybody did his research papers for him. I think that there is a cultural and political factor that he may not acknowledge that drives his ability to kind of prosper around all them white folks and get them white boys to love him so much. And then I was curious. I told the queen, the woman that sits by my side that I love so much. She's a scholar too. She's a social work professor. I said, I bet he's married to a white girl. I bet he got a white woman on his arm. And I Googled it. I'm sorry. Y'all wondering, you were curious, right? So I Googled it and I Googled Roland Fryer wife. Now, I don't know if this is his wife or not. But let me see. So I can actually pull it up. If you guys are on drboystv.com, you can actually see the picture. If you're on Facebook, you won't see it because so you guys right there, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you won't see it. But if you're on drboystv.com, you can see it. So if you want to see the image, just go to drboystv.com. Make sure you subscribe though, by the way. So if you Google search Roland Fryer wife and you hit images, let's see what comes up. Okay, bada bing. Let me show y'all what I found. Let me show. I did my little detective work. Hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button while I pull this up. We got to subscribe to each other. All right, here we go. So here we go. So here's the image that came up. Him standing next to some white woman. Now, is that his wife? I don't know. I know Google's pretty smart. And you type in somebody's name and you type wife, and there's an image of them with a woman. Then then you would assume that might be their wife, right? And then here's another one. It looks like him. Okay, it says Roland Fryer girlfriend. So this may not be his wife. This is his girlfriend. So, I mean, let's just be real. We live in the same, I live in the same country you do. And you and I both kind of know that, being down with Becky can create opportunities that you may not have otherwise. In fact, there was a black woman that worked at CB or ABC or wherever it was who shut down Roseanne's show. Remember, Roseanne said that racist shit and they shut her show down. And they were talking about this black executive and all the great stuff she did. And I said to the queen, I said, baby, I bet you she's married to a white man. And we Googled her name, Googled husband, boom, she's married to a white man. So, marriage really is a come up for some people. It is an opportunity. It's either a come up or a come in. I don't see it so much as a come up in the sense that, being closer to white people does not mean you've had a come up. You haven't had a come up. So let's get rid of that thinking in the first place that being elevated in white supremacist institutions is a come up for you. That is not a come up for you. That does not make you a better person. Instead of being a come up, it's a come in, right? It's like if you are down with Boyce Watkins, then I will invite you into my home. We can come in and kick it because not because you're a better person than somebody who disagrees with me, but because you and I agree. We see eye to eye. Our ideologies are similar. So I'm going to invite you in to the institution called my home because I can relate to you. I like you. I can identify with your value system. Now, if you were someone else who had values that were inconsistent with me, then I would not invite you into my home. If you come in talking about I worship the devil and I molest children, then I will be like, you need to stay your ass out on the front porch. And if you stay too long, I'm going to call the popos on you. I'm going to call the police, right? I will put you out. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, being invited into something is not the same as actually elevating your status in the world. And it's important for Black people to understand this because many of us think that being accepted by white America is a status symbol, that means you are successful, or we'll get upset. We'll say, well, why is it that white people get all the opportunities and we don't? Well, because those institutions were built for white people by white people. And ultimately, if we want to have more opportunities, we must learn to not go seek opportunities. We must learn how to create opportunities. We must not spend our lives seeking validation. We must spend our lives learning to create validation in our own community. So the same way they give away degrees and accolades and credentials and awards and everything else, we can give away degrees, accolades, credentials, and awards. We just have to have a mindset of institution building as opposed to a mindset of begging and borrowing and tapping on the door and saying, please let me in because I am nobody. I ain't nothing but a lowly Negro. And I need you to validate me so I'll feel like I am somebody, right? So you are, and I'm here to just tell you this right now, you are somebody just because of the melanin in your skin. You are somebody because of the community from which you came. You are somebody because you are a descendant of the survivors of the Middle Passage and the worst form of slavery in the history of all mankind. So don't ever get to the point where you believe that you must go to someone who hates you to validate you, because that is a trap. So anyway, so Roland, but he was validated, but he wasn't validated just because he was black, or just because he has the white wife, or just because he, has puts out these research studies that say that racism is a figment of our imagination. Apparently, when it comes to police shootings, he was also validated because the brother's smart. He's a smart man. And again, this is the nuanced analysis that you're going to get from me. You're never going to get things from me black or white or gray. If you try to put me in a box, I'm going to confuse you. I'm going to frustrate you, right? So I'm not going to just shit all over the guy. I'm just going to tell the truth about this guy. So I don't agree with him ideologically, but I respect him for his accomplishments. So he opens this lab at Harvard. He's doing extremely well there, better than even the white folks at Harvard. And basically, I think a couple of years ago, he gets these allegations. Apparently some women in his lab have accused him of being of harassing them or talking about sex in the workplace. Now, from what I've read, in terms of the accusations against Professor Fryer, I think that he's actually admitted that he's talked about sex in the workplace, but he was like, but I didn't say anything offensive. Everybody fucks. At some point, if you never tried it, you probably should. It's good for reproduction. It fucking increases your opportunities to reproduce. It's actually kind of fun, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with sex. There's nothing wrong with talking about sex. But apparently, the problem is that if you make someone uncomfortable, particularly, this is really, now let's be clear, this is not a rule that's sort of designed for everybody to try to sort of harm everyone. This is a rule that's designed to be very anti-male and anti-black male. So just be clear about it. This is anti-male, anti-black male. When these allegations sort of pop up, oh, he said something to me about sex in the workplace and it made me uncomfortable. 99 times out of 100, it's a woman accusing a man. It's rarely a man accusing a woman, because men, we don't care about that shit. You can talk about sex and we'll laugh with you. We think it's funny, right? Or, even, that person inappropriately touched me and I didn't want to be touched. They hugged me and I felt uncomfortable because they hugged me for 3 seconds and I only wanted to be hugged for 2, right? Men don't do that. Men don't make allegations like that. Now, maybe we should be more sensitive. Maybe we should cry more often. I'm sure that's what people that, love the gay agenda want to say, like, oh, men need to be more sensitive and, whatever it is. But I'm not like that. I'm a old school Southern black man. And I've never had a situation where a woman offended me because she talked about sex or because she tried to get with me. If she tried to get with me, I won't get with her. I say, back up, don't touch, hands off, and I move on with my life. I don't sort of come back 20 years later and say, this happened to me. This person, she told me I look good in my suit. And it just shattered me for years. And that's why I became an alcoholic, because I was so emotional after it happened. And it just hurt my feelings so much. And now I need you to go back and find that person and destroy them, right? Take away everything they've ever worked for, because 20 years ago, she told me that she looked at me and said, Dr. Watkins, you looking good in that suit. Because I tell you what, if that was my mindset, I'd be filing cases on probably 20-30% of the women in here watching right now, because y'all done said stuff to me where I've been like, can you believe she said that? And she knows I got a woman at home, right? So let's just be clear. Now, somebody says I'm woman shaming. I know she's okay. I see LOL. Yeah, right. And again, but this speaks to the idea that men and women are different. And I think that that's important to accept. I was taught that at an early age, that men and women are not the same. And also that while men and women are not the same, every woman is different. That was literally the weird conversation my dad had with me when I was 15. He was teaching me to drive. I'm going to tell the story. I hope it doesn't make it sound too stupid. But my dad was teaching me to drive a car, and he said a car is like a woman. He said every one of them's different, and you got to get the feel of it to kind of know exactly how to drive it the right way, right? So it was a very sexualized kind of thing, but it's true. People are different. No two women are alike, no two men are alike, right? But we also know that men and women are not the same, which to some extent kind of contradicts, much of what you might hear from feminism, which wants us to believe that gender is just a figment of our imagination and that men and women are the same. We do everything the same. We want the same stuff. We want to do the same thing. I don't buy that bullshit. I think that's dumb. I got a great woman that's right next to me. When we turn on Netflix, and we're picking what show we want to watch on Netflix. I'm picking shows that involve football, sports, stuff blowing up, action. She's picking like girly flicks that literally make me want to throw up. But I watch them because that's what you do. You know, you love her, you want to be supportive. So you're like, okay, I'll watch the girly flick and I'll act like I like it, or whatever. But we're just different, right? She's got the estrogen, I got the testosterone, and that's how you find that balance. And it's okay to admit that, right? So anyway, let's go back to Professor Fryer. So Professor Fryer has these allegations, and now what's interesting about this is, look, I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, for all I know, the guy could be a creep. For all I know, the guy could have really done something that he shouldn't have done. I would be disappointed to hear about that because, he's worked extremely hard. I mean, this man has been busting his ass. It's not easy. Let me just tell you guys, as a fellow economist, I can tell you it ain't easy to win a John Bates Clark medal. Again, it's like winning the Nobel Prize. It's given to the best economists on earth under the age of 40. So the amount of work and dedication I'm sure he put in to elevating himself to, to that stature in his profession, I would be stunned if he, put all that on the line because he wanted to, talk about something raunchy in the workplace. Now, does that mean he didn't do it? No, it doesn't mean he didn't do it. But what is unfortunate and quite fascinating and very telling about his whole case, though, is that it doesn't even matter if he did it or not at this point, because when it comes to his reputation in the eyes of some, it's game over, homie. It's game over. It's game over. Like, it doesn't matter. They could come back and say, we found out that the person that the accusations had no basis whatsoever, that they made this up because he fired her and she just got mad and decided to make some shit up. They could say everything on earth to exonerate him and to help him resecure his reputation. It will not work. Because, well, why is that? Because when you are a black man, especially for black men, when the accusation is made, the damage is done. The damage was done when they accused their brother. He ain't winning the Nobel Prize. He ain't gonna win it. And he's not. And if any of it turned out to be true, if he said, if he literally said, oh yeah, well, I had some, everybody wants some good sex. Ha ha ha. If he said even something that mild, that might lead to him being fired from Harvard University. Do y'all know that since the accusation was made, they banned him from the lab that he founded? They have banned him from his lab. Like they're like a predator. Like they have told him, Negro, don't you even come back until the investigation is over, because you are a danger and a threat to the women in this workplace. They literally have done that. And I just think it's fascinating to observe this, because I'm sitting there just thinking, wow. I mean, the man's put 25 years getting to where he is now, and all of that's gone because he might have made one sentence or made one comment at work that would be harmless in any other context, but somebody just took offense to it, and now his reputation is damaged for good. You know what that makes me think about? There's another black man that reached out to me. He's a professor at another university. I got away from academia. I'm gonna tell y'all the honest to God truth. White people make me very nervous. They make me very nervous. LeBron said he used to like not trust white people and he had to learn to trust them. He's better than me because I still don't trust the workplace. With a bunch of white folks around. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Doesn't mean I can't. I have white friends, and if you're one of my white friends watching, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Just don't be fucking with me and we straight. But it makes me very nervous to the point where when I was in that environment, I said, I got to get out of here because this is crazy. This is crazy. This environment reminds me of the Salem witch trials. Now, if you recall, in the Salem witch trials, that was a period where they just believed everybody was a witch. and everybody's being accused of being a witch. If you had, I think even menstrual cycles, like somehow they thought women were witches or they were possessed by the devil because they had a period and they were bleeding and they didn't die. Y'all know that, like back when people were just totally ignorant. But literally, if you did any little thing that they didn't understand, they would say, "Oh, I think that person's a witch." If your neighbor got pissed at you and decided they want to just take you down, they would call. They wouldn't call, but they would go and say, "I think she's a witch." And now the thing about the Salem witch trials was that it didn't matter if you were a witch or not, and really, if they really wanted to believe that you were a witch, you can't like prove that you're not a witch. You really can't unprove what they already believe, right? Because if you do, if you come and you articulately explain why you can't possibly be a witch because you don't know any spells and you've never cast magic on anybody, you don't ride a broom to work, they would just say, "Oh, well, that's you using your witchcraft to control our minds and make us believe that you're not a witch." And then they would do these crazy things, like they would put somebody underwater and say something like, "If you go underwater and you survive, then that means you're a witch. But if you die, that means you're innocent." It was something crazy like that. So either way, you got a death penalty on your ass, because if you survive, they're going to kill you for being a witch. But if you don't survive, they're going to say, "Oh, well, damn, she wasn't a witch, but she dead now, so who cares?" So really, this reminds me of the Salem witch trials, because it's an environment where the accusation does all the damage. You don't need a conviction. You don't actually need to prove anything anymore. All you need to do is accuse somebody. Now, the case with Roland Fryer at Harvard, which I hope that the truth comes out. I'm not gonna say I'm rooting for the brother or not rooting for him. I don't really honestly care. I really don't. I think Harvard's a racist institution, like a lot of them. I think that most of the Black people that succeed in institutions like that are typically people that have somehow, found a way to get along with white supremacy. They're too scared to hang out with Black people like us. They think that we're beneath them or whatever. A lot of them do, and they can go off in their own little land, and that's what they signed up for. You signed up for that, right? So when I look at him, I'm like, it's like the way I felt with Bill Cosby and OJ. OJ, Tiger Woods, same thing. OJ, Tiger, Bill Cosby, guys like that. You're signing on for the white man package, right? So and it's a good package when it works. It works really well until it doesn't, right? So Tiger's like, "Hey, I don't really like Black people that much. I'm not going to be Black. I want to be Coblinasian. I want to play for Team White people. I'm gonna marry Becky, and if Becky doesn't want to stay married to me, I'll marry Becky Jr. Right? And that's who I am. And Tiger went into that world, and he paid a price for that. But Tiger's still in that world, so that's a trade-off he agreed to make. O.J. Simpson was everybody's favorite white man until his ass was the most hated Black man in America for allegedly killing, this blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel. They make her an angel. They always make the dead white woman into an angel, right? They do that. It's something that they do. And and then suddenly he's trying to be Black again, trying to get support from the Black community. But a lot of Black people were like, "Man, please, like, you told us you were white years ago, so why are you talking to us now?" Right? The list goes on and on. Same thing, unfortunately with Bill Cosby, all of that. So that's his life. He chose that life. He chose that system, and now the system's not really working for him. The system has worked extremely well for him to this point. I don't know if the system's going to work well for him now, especially given that he's now been labeled as a dirty Negro. When he was the golden Negro, then the system worked well for him. It's like being a professional athlete. When you're the golden Negro, you're entertaining white folks and you're scoring points for them, making them money, they love you to death. But when you become the dirty Negro, when you either because you are accused of a crime or because you are too outspoken against white supremacy, then they're going to take you out back and shoot you, like an old horse that they can't use anymore. Right. Remember Ron Artest. Remember when he, was in the NBA and a guy in the stands threw something, hit him in the head, and he went up in the stands and punched the guy out or whatever. They gave him the worst punishment in the history of the NBA because he'd gone from being the golden Negro to being the dirty Negro. And when you do that, they treat you the same way the circus deals with an animal when the animal gets out of pocket. Like when the elephants are well trained and they're doing what they're supposed to do, they'll give them peanuts and everybody claps and it's all wonderful. Everybody's making money, everybody's happy. But when the elephant suddenly does something he's not supposed to do, then it's like, okay, all bets are off. We must kill him now, right? So now I think with Roland Fryer, the dilemma he's going to run into is that he's now been labeled, just like every other black man in the last 400 years. When they get labeled as making a white woman uncomfortable, and I don't know if his accusers are white or not. Maybe one of his accusers are black. I don't know. But when you're a black man and you get that label, that predatory label, even if you're a light version of a predator, they don't really make a difference anymore. They don't make a distinction between sexual harassment and misconduct versus, rape. Like they put you in the same category as the rapist. When you get that label, what's going to happen is a lot of his, friends are going to be former friends. A lot of the people that used to love him and support him are not going to support him anymore. And the system that worked for him so well for so long may not work well for him any longer. Right. So what I've always told black folks, in my opinion, is I will say this. If I had a son, I would just say, son, stay away from this system. It's too dangerous for you. Let's keep you out of this system. Let's train you on how to have your own business so you don't have to go beg a white man for a job. Let me show you how to invest in the stocks and real estate and everything else so that you can have something to do that doesn't involve you running up behind a white man begging him to validate you. Right? Let me leave you an inheritance. Let me leave you some life insurance. Let me put a trust fund together for you so you'll have some assets, so you have options for yourself that don't involve you having to go and subjugate yourself to a system that we know that has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt to be harmful to black people. White supremacy ain't nothing new. We have known since we arrived on slave ships that these systems weren't built for us. We know this, right? We know this, but why do we keep coming back? Well, you keep coming back the same way a woman with low self-esteem keeps coming back to a man that she knows might beat her every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? She might come back to him because maybe she feels like she can't do any better than him. Maybe she comes back to him because she doesn't love herself enough to think that she deserves better. Maybe she comes back to him because she doesn't have enough money to go and take care of herself, nor the confidence to believe that she's going to figure it out, right? She keeps coming back to him, maybe because she didn't make a plan B. She didn't think about where she can go to get support emotionally and financially and otherwise that did not involve this person. So ultimately for black people, we are in the absolute worst kind of abusive relationship with white supremacy. We hate it. We get mad. We go to work, gritting our teeth, ready to punch a hole in the wall, but we keep coming back because we don't feel like we have any other options, right? So, and it's not just a financial thing, it's also a psychological and emotional thing. You need white people to make you feel like you are somebody. You need white folks to tell you that you're worthy. You need white folks to validate you through their institutions. They're institutions that you can also create yourself, but you don't believe you have the confidence to do that. You need white folks to give you that award so you can say that you were teacher of the year or employee of the month or whatever it is that you need in order to feel like you are an accomplished person. You want to go back with that money, with that status, with that corner office, with that label and say, hey, mama, I'm now the general manager of all the Northeast locations for the Coca-Cola Corporation, and they gave me Employee of the Year award at a $150,000 a year salary. So now I am somebody. As is an uppity Negro now, I am somebody because I've now been officially validated as official now, right? When really what you didn't understand was it's just like the lion and the scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz, where they went out into the world looking for something to give them something that they had inside themselves all along. You understand? So for black folks, we are always out here in the world looking for white folks, looking for our oppressors to give us something that we had inside ourselves all along. You have the ability to generate wealth for yourself. You have $1 trillion a year that flows through your economy and you give most of that money away. You have the ability to give yourself awards. We can create award shows just like they created award shows. The Oscars and the Grammys and the Emmys and all that bullshit. Somebody made that shit up. Somebody said, let's create an award. We're going to call it an Emmy and we're going to act like it's really important. So everybody will sacrifice their life to try to get this award. That shit was made up. That shit was a concept in somebody's head where they said, I think why don't we create a prize and name it after Joseph Pulitzer? We'll call it the Pulitzer Prize. And now, you know, you get black folks saying, oh my God, oh Lordy B, I done made black history. I was the first black person to get a Pulitzer Prize. Well, you know, I could probably give you some imaginary shit too that'll make you feel better about yourself. Would that help? Is that what you need? Would that save you some time and energy instead of you having to go through your life kissing white ass and being nice to people who hate you in order to get them to validate you? Like, would that be okay? Like, maybe I can make some shit up for you right quick. We're gonna call this the Dr. Boyce Watkins Blue Tie Award, and I'm wearing a blue tie today. So with the Dr. Boyce Watkins Blue Tie Award goes to Janet Grant. Janet Grant, you are the person that I randomly picked out of a pile on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to make you a moderator. So that's additional validation. So now you can go home and say, Mama, I made it. I got the Dr. Boyce Watkins totally made up Blue Tie Award, and he made me a moderator. So now I am somebody. Do you see how easy that process is? It's very simple, very basic. Very simple, very basic. Most of these institutions that you see that you admire so much, whether it's a corporate brand or a university or whatever it is, all these things started off as concepts in somebody's mind, something that someone made up. So really at the end of the day, everything that you see around you is what we in mathematics, we have a term for this. It's called vacuously true. Vacuously true. Vacuously true kind of means like, if you believe it's real, then it's real. If you don't believe it's real, then it's not. Right? What does that mean? Well, it's like if you ask me, if you say, hey, boys, do flying pigs speak Chinese? I'd be like, yeah, of course they do. Right? And if you believe my bullshit, then you're going to believe it. But I can also say, oh, come on. No, we all know a flying pig can't speak Chinese. Well, why does it not matter which answer I give you? The reason it doesn't matter is because flying pigs don't exist. That's some imaginary shit. So you're putting imaginary shit on top of imaginary shit. So you're doubling down on everything that's not even real in the first place. But yet somehow, you know, we might both agree that this is actually, you know, a worthy thing to talk about. Running their families the same way the Chinese run their government, or taking bits and pieces of that, not exactly like point for point in terms of following exactly what they do, but there's literally some very interesting corollaries and connections between how the Chinese government, sets its policies and why they are the preeminent economic force on the planet. Like, it's not a coincidence. It's like trying to figure out, why did the New England Patriots win so many Super Bowls? Well, it wasn't a coincidence. By the way, everybody on YouTube, it took me out for a minute. If that ever happens again, just give me like about 2 minutes. Maybe give me like 5 if you really love me. But give me a second and I'm gonna come right back. I'm never gonna leave you and disappear and not come back. If I disappear, I don't think this ever happened, but if I disappear, what it usually is a Wi-Fi issue. So when that happens, I usually will switch my Wi-Fi connection and come right back in. So if that ever happens, do not go away. Just wait around for a minute. We'll be right back. So if you want to join the lecture, it's going to be Saturday night at 8 p.m. It's free to the public, totally free. You ain't got to pay a nickel. Come on in. You can go to blackdragonfinance.com. That's blackdragonfinance.com. I call it Return of the Black Dragon because, I think dragons are just really cool and dragons represent China. So I bought this dragon statue or whatever the fuck it's called when I was there. And I just think it's awesome. I like the dragon. It's powerful. It's ferocious. And it happens to be a symbol of China. And I said, let's just make this dragon black. And I like the word return because for Black people, as we make Black America great again and make Black people great again, I like the idea of us returning to the ferocious status that we had once before. 300, 400, 500 years is not a long time in history. We had a bad 300, 400, 500 years in the United States. But I believe that if we just do a couple of things now and tap into our greatness, we can literally take the lead. We can literally become the people that everybody else is envious of. So somebody please type that in, blackdragonfinance.com. That's where you can sign up, blackdragonfinance.com. Let me show you all this other thing. I bought these. In China, they sell all these they always sell like little stuff on the side of the road and stuff. I went this thing. So I got this bull, right? And, I'm into investing and I teach the, stock market investing and stuff. So I thought this bull was pretty cool. And I looked at the bull really close. Y'all see that thing at the bottom of the bull? Y'all see that? I'm like, wow, they really went out of their way to create a little bull penis right here. And I just thought that was weird. I thought that was very interesting. Most of the time our bulls in the United States are eunuchs. They would cut the penis off. But I just thought that was, don't ask me why I brought that up. Who knows? Maybe somebody's going to accuse me of sexual harassment now because I talked about, I brought up sex in the live stream. But anyway, so we were talking earlier about Roland Fryer, Professor Roland Fryer at Harvard University, and his whole situation where he's been accused of saying things in the workplace that are inappropriate. He was a hotshot economist. Just based on the accusation, they have banned him from his own lab. He can't come into his own facility. He's got this big stain on his reputation, a dark cloud kind of hanging over him, and the investigation is not over yet. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens once the investigation is done, what happens with his career. But, even beyond Roland Fryer, this is part of a pattern. This is part of a trend, a pattern where we really love to we love to kind of act like false accusations against Black men don't exist. We also love to ignore the fact that we're going after people and destroying them based on accusations alone. There's supposed to be this thing called due process, innocent till proven guilty, and it's being violated all the time to a huge detriment to the victims who are falsely accused. And what I consistently hear is that we shouldn't talk about false accusations because they're so rare. They're so rare. They're so rare. They're so rare. Well, you know what? Immigrant children being separated from their parents is extremely rare. Illegal immigrant children, maybe that's like 1% of all the children in Mexico have gone through a separation from their family. But you don't hear white people say, well, because it's so rare, we're going to act like it doesn't exist. They literally act like the separation of illegal immigrant families is the biggest thing in the world, even if it's one family. Right? They'll have one family and they'll write a whole news story about one family, and they'll try to change government policy over one family. So don't tell me that something doesn't matter because you think it's rare. You obviously haven't been Black. And I agree. Cold World, Lil Paco from El Salvador, separated from his mama. They act like that's the biggest news story in the world, but that's also extremely rare too. So that's a bad argument. And really what the translation of that argument is, the translation, here's what white people are saying. I've learned how to speak white-ese over time. And what they're really saying when they say that it's so rare that you shouldn't talk about it, they're really kind of saying that Black people don't matter. That's what they're saying. They're basically saying, Black people are not important. And that's what it is, And so ultimately, they uh, whenever we come up and we say, well, wait a minute, we got this issue in the Black community. It's affecting a lot of people that we know. They say, oh, well, that's really rare, so it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Well, my thought is like, well, fuck you. Like, no, it might be rare to you, but if it happened to my brother or my sister or my parent, like, I need you to address that shit. And if you can't address it, then I'm not going to address your shit. Period. That's it. The other thing is that with the Fryer case, is part of this pattern of these accusations that have kind of popped up with Black men. A lot of people don't pay attention, but there are a lot of situations that are being reported in media of Black men being falsely accused. But it doesn't matter that the accusation was false, because by the time the dust settled and the investigations were done, the person's life had already been ruined. Does anybody remember the case of Brian Banks? Remember Brian Banks? Brian Banks was a brother about a decade ago who was a superstar high school football player who had been heavily recruited by tons of schools all across the United States. He was one of the top running backs in the country. I think he might have been the #1 running back prospect in America. And he was going to go to USC, and he got falsely accused of rape. And the young lady that falsely accused him, years later, she finally admitted, after Brian had been in prison for 5 or 6 years, had gone through only God knows what, she finally admitted to him on the phone that she falsely accused him. And it took a recording of her admitting that she falsely accused him for him to be released from prison. And when they released that man from prison, he cried like a baby. He cried like a baby. I mean, he broke down like a little baby, because and I don't know exactly why he cried, but I cried for him, because he lost so many years of his life that he would never get back. His football career was done. He would never get a chance to play football. I think that, the Atlanta Falcons led him onto the practice squad for a couple of weeks, just as a symbolic gesture. But he can't play NFL football after he'd been in the pen for 6-7 years. You can't do that. He'd gone through only God knows what in prison. People don't talk about this. Nobody talks about it, but a lot of rape happens in prison. So if you're a person that cares about sexual assault and you're not talking about prison, then you don't really care about sexual assault. If you care about sexual assault and you don't talk about prison rape, then you don't care about sexual assault, because most rapes happen in prison. And a large percentage of those rapes are happening to Black men. And that's why they don't talk about it. And even when I talk about the fact that they don't talk about it, they still won't talk about it. So the white reaction to you, the greatest symbol of disrespect is their silence when you bring up direct, hypocrisy, just direct, clear, consistent proof that they're being inconsistent and hypocritical. They'll just act like they didn't hear you. But I know that they hear me. A million Black people a week hear me. So why is it that none of the white liberals hear? They hear me when I say Black people shouldn't vote or I don't think Black people should vote unless you feel that they're supporting your interests. They hear that when they start hearing me saying that I'm not going to vote in the next election. Then they start, wait, what you say? Wait, we got a Black person who's talking to Black people who's saying that he's not going to vote. Well, that's going to ruin things. Well, you know what? If all you care about is getting Black people to vote, then you can't say you care about Black people. That doesn't make any sense. That's like me saying I care about you showing up to work, but I don't care about you getting your paycheck. Like I want to make sure you on the job every day, but I don't care half as much about whether or not you get rewarded for coming to the job. Well, what does that make you when you are going to work every day and not getting paid? Well, it would sort of make you a slave. So there are people that like for Black people to be intellectual slaves, political slaves, economic slaves. Y'all know the slavery that happens in prison. Slavery is very real. It's not metaphorical. This is legalized slavery. It's literally in the Constitution that if they label you as a convict, they can make you into a slave. So you had other cases of false accusations. You had the situation, there's a brother at Ohio that went to Ohio State, Gary and Corley. I think he plays for the Raiders now. He's suing his false accuser, and I don't think he's going to get very much money, but she accused him, made it all up. The grand jury said this is a bunch of BS. They threw it out. But by that time, because of the accusation, he dropped in the draft. He lost millions of dollars as a result of that. And so now he's suing, but he probably won't get any recourse. Where's the justice for Black men? There is none. You have the situation with the brother that plays for the Dallas Cowboys now. The running back, forgot his name. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you follow football, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Number 21, I can't remember his name. But he was falsely accused, of domestic violence. A white woman that was seen by her friends. Her friends told the investigators, they said, she's crazy. They said she's chasing him down. Zeke Elliott, thank you. They said she is a thirsty chick that's mad that he don't want nothing to do with her. He's trying to stay clean, trying to get away from her. She's chasing him down and literally saying things like, I'm a white girl. If I accuse you, then I can ruin your whole career. She said stuff like that. And y'all don't think that's a problem? Y'all don't think that's a problem? The reason y'all don't think that's a problem is because you don't give a shit. You all you care about is trying to be politically correct, but you're not trying to be correct. You're trying to be politically correct, but you are not trying to be correct. You are not trying to be fair. You're not trying to be accurate. You're not trying to be thorough. You're not trying to be logical. You're not trying to be decent. You're not trying to be just. All you're trying to do is fuck over black men who are in your mind the least common denominator, the lowest denominator in all of this, the least relevant player in this game, and you're basically taking it out on the people that you feel can't defend themselves. I think that day should be over, black people. I think that day should be over. It's over in my house. I'm not going to let anybody get me to say something that's stupid or untrue just because it's politically correct. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that. I'm not going. I'm just not going. I've cussed out people who have got mad at me because I cuss too much. They told me, they said, I like you boys. I wish I could support you, but I can't support all that cussing because you cuss too much and you need to stop. Well, I basically respond by saying, fuck you. Seriously, like literally. And so if I'm going to cuss out somebody who actually likes me, who was maybe a fan, I'm not in this game for fans. This ain't why you do this stuff. You ain't supposed to be doing it for fans. But if I'm going to cuss out somebody who is an ally because they're trying to shut down my right to truth and freedom of speech, well, how the fuck you think I feel about these damn crackers out here? I'm sorry. Let me stop that. I take that back. I did not mean to use the word crackers. That's derogatory. It's mean. It's nasty. And I truly don't mean that. I'm not going to call it because that's not right. That's not right. These asshole white supremacists, and there's a whole lot of them. How do you think I feel about those people when they're coming and trying to get us to tell lies just because it's politically expedient? They are ruining the lives of young black men because they are too scared to tell the truth. They're too scared to just be honest, man. You about to send this you about to ruin this young dude. He's 21. He done made the mistake of getting with a crazy chick, and she up here telling all kinds of lies, and you know she lying. And you know the evidence doesn't support the case. You know that it's bullshit, but you still gonna ruin this young man's life because you're too scared to upset people over Title IX and all this other crap. Like, no, I'm sorry. I defended a black man recently. There was a black professor who reached out to me. I told you I got away from academia because I didn't like the racism, but I support my friends who are still in that struggle. And every now and then, the professors, a lot of them, they thought I was crazy. They said, oh no, you're standing up to white folks. Like they didn't want to be around me because they felt like I would get them in trouble because, massa only let you talk about certain things. And I said, yeah, you need to stay away because if any Negro gets shot, just let me be the one that gets shot. I don't want you to get shot too because you're a coward. And so anyway, but it's funny, these same people who were running away from me and trying to tell me to shut up and calm down and be scared, now they brag to their friends that they know me because their students actually admire a black man with his testicles attached to his body. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I left academia, but I still have friends in academia. And there was a brother that reached out to me and I supported him in his case. And let me tell you about this situation. I'm going to say it anonymously because I don't want to make it worse than what it is. But they went to him, right? And they said to him, we have an accusation of sexual misconduct against you from a student. And he was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, we have an accusation against you. And basically like the dark cloud was already above his head. So now his reputation's messed up. The investigation's begun. He's already screwed. He said, okay, so who was it? They said, well, we can't tell you. So he's like, okay, you can't tell me? So I have no right to face my accuser, but my reputation's on the line. I've been a professor for 20-something years. Like, you can't let some random student just come in and say anything and ruin my reputation. And they said, yeah, actually we can. So we're not going to tell you who it is. He said, okay, well, what am I being accused of? They said, well, we can't tell you that either. And so basically, according to Title IX, he wasn't allowed to know the name of his accuser. He wasn't allowed to know what he was being accused of. He wasn't informed or updated on the status of the investigation. Nothing. And they were treating him like he was a predator. And so he had this cloud over his head for the whole semester. And they called this fancy white law firm in from Chicago to come in and do their investigation. And he asked me to just come to the meeting with him because he said, I feel like I'm being attacked. I feel like somebody else is the predator and I'm the prey. I need some support. So I said, okay, I'll come and I'll be a witness for you. You know, so I went and I sat with him in the meeting, and as the white lady asked him questions and took notes and didn't tell him anything. And you know what I told him? I said, man, I said, you know what? I said, we know this is some bullshit. I said, if I were you, I would not allow them to make you feel like you always have to be on the defensive. Because he spent a lot of time explaining. He said, I love my students. I work very hard. I'm an excellent, you know, I'm a strong scholar. I dedicate my life to this. He was going through all of this, trying to, you know, basically prove that he's perfect. I said, if you're trying to prove that you're perfect, you're probably not going to win because ain't nobody perfect. And I said, one thing you got to understand is that of all of these white folks that are coming at you over some bullshit, all of them got bullshit in their closet that could be scrutinized if you chose to scrutinize that. I said, so instead of letting them turn the spotlight on you, turn the spotlight back on them. I said, so the same way this white girl is accusing you of sexual misconduct over some shit that you don't even know what the hell, who it was, what you're being accused of, nothing. I said, you accuse them of racial discrimination because what they're doing to you right now is what they call persecution. They are persecuting you, putting you through hell over an allegation that isn't even proven. And I said, and Gwendolyn's asking, did he get a lawyer? I told him, I said, get you a lawyer and you sue these motherfuckers and you make them go to court and prove that they're not discriminating against you because you work at a university that hasn't hired a black person in 5 years and they up here trying to act like you're the one who's fucked up. They're fucked up because they don't even understand that 5 years without hiring a black person makes you as bad as the Ku Klux Klan. You are as bad as the worst racist that anybody has ever seen. The KKK, David Duke couldn't have a worse hiring record than your university has right now. So then they're trying to act like you're the one who screwed up. That's what racism does. Racism puts the spotlight on you. And because of your insecurities that you're born with, that are placed in you as a black person in this country through the educational system, through the media, through everything else, where you always try to prove yourself to somebody who doesn't even have the right to even ask you to prove to yourself to them. Who the hell are they? I don't owe you shit. No, I'm not gonna. No, you're pulling me over. The cop's pulling me over because he thinks I'm a thug. No, I'm not gonna pull out my Dr. Boyce Watkins card just to let him know I'm a respectable Negro and that I don't deserve this kind of treatment because nobody deserves this kind of treatment. No. I might be Tyrone on the block who just got out of jail after doing 5 years for slanging crack, but you still don't have the right to pull me over. And I'm not even going to tell you that I'm a professor or a PhD or that I'm a prominent black man or anything like that, because I don't owe you any of that. I don't have to prove myself to you. You need to prove yourself to me. Prove to me that you're even worthy of having a conversation with me right now, because you're not even supposed to be in my space. You're violating my space. Get the fuck out of my space. Seriously, black people, stop being on the defensive and start getting on the offensive. So I don't know if he took my advice. I don't know if he got the lawyer. I don't know if he sued them. But I said they're playing this stupid game with you where they literally, you're trying to prove that you've never said anything that would offend a white woman. My God, if I had to spend my life proving that, I would be in jail for 10,000 years because I've offended a lot of white women. I've cussed them out before. Like, seriously. And they're so fucking fragile. They get offended by everything. Everything. You can literally say that I don't like puppies, and a white woman might start crying on your ass because she upset because her puppy died. Like, literally, stop it. Stop it. Okay. If you're on Instagram, you're about to disappear because the time's running out on Instagram. I'm going to bring you guys right back. So just stay right there. I'm literally, all I got to do is hit the button and go live again. We got a few more things to talk about. By the way, everybody else, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, the share button, the subscribe button. And also, I want to remind you guys, Saturday, I'm doing the lecture on my trip to China and the economic principles that have led to China's economic growth and how you can apply that to your family. So if you want to be a part of that lecture, which is going to change your world, it's going to rock your world. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. It's totally free. Come on in. You can go to blackdragonfinance.com. That's blackdragonfinance.com. So let me end this and restart this video. The other thing too, if you haven't joined our League of Intelligent Black People, the League of Intelligent Black People is a group of people where, you know, we ask you to help support the channel, and in exchange, we give you lots of free stuff. We give you, you know, lots of access and education and all kinds of extra stuff. It's really cool. So if you like what we do here and you want to support, but we don't ask for charity, this is not a donation. We give you 10 times more than what you invest in the channel. But if you believe that this is Black media that should be out here and flourishing, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to make intelligence cool for Black people all around the world. We're basically highlighting those Black people that in those ideas that you're not going to see in white media. You're not going to see in a hip hop music video. You're not going to see on, you know, BET or World Star Hip Hop. But there are lots of worthy Black people with worthy ideas who can contribute to the community, and all the money that comes in gets reinvested right back into the Black community so that we can grow, so we can reach more people. So thank you for typing in the URL. It's intelligentblackpeople.com. So please join up, please subscribe. And the concluding point I want to make on this with the Roland Fryer thing, as well as the cases. I mean, you got so many other cases of just either false accusations or unproven accusations that have ruined men's lives. You know, and you know, I would just say, you know, look, I mean, you even have that case of the 9-year-old boy in New York. Y'all know the case of the 9-year-old boy where the white woman called the cops and said he sexually assaulted me because she accused him of grabbing her butt or something, and he's 9 and he's trying to figure out, like, why am I being called a sexual predator? And then and the case got really stupid because at first he's saying, I don't forgive her. Next thing you know, his mother is on TV saying, I don't want no harm to come to this lady. I forgive her, which makes me sound like it was some corruption, like maybe some politicians got to her. That's what I've been hearing on the ground in Brooklyn, is that, you know, some politicians might have got to her and basically got her to, you know, kind of change her position to make white people more comfortable, to let them get away with committing crimes against us, right? Again, because when you are labeling somebody as a predator, you're risking sending them to prison. So you, at that point, if you're lying, you are the predator, actually, because you're trying to put somebody through something that is far worse than a rape. It's far worse. Going to prison 5 years, you give people a choice. What would you rather do? Go to prison 5 years and get raped 1,000 times, or get raped once? I would say going to prison for 5 years and being raped 1,000 times is far worse. And so when you are condemning somebody to something like that, and you're doing that because you're trying to harm them, or you're trying to get revenge, or you're just trying to tell a lie or trying to get attention, you deserve a penalty that I think should be double what they would have gotten if they had actually been guilty of the crime you're accusing them of. There's another case. What was it? Another one I saw. I literally wrote down some of the cases. There's so many of them. There's the case of 2 Sacred Heart University football players who were falsely accused by a white woman. And I kid you not, go read the story. Look up Sacred Heart University false accusation. And literally the woman was seeking attention. She was trying to get attention from a boy she was dating. So she holed it up and went, and she had gone and slept with 2 black football players in the bathroom, apparently, and told him that they raped her. And that was why she was in there, like, giving it away like cotton candy, right? And that's what happens that does happen, right? Where somebody does something that they shouldn't have done, something that is embarrassing to them, or they got pissy drunk and did some stuff that they regret. And they'll come back later on and say, oh, I was raped, I was raped, I was raped. And that's kind of that's something white females get away with. Most of us can't do that. I can't go get drunk and go do something really stupid and then come back and say, oh, they took advantage of me because I was drunk. That's a crime. They should go to jail for that. No, they're going to say, well, Boyce, why did you get drunk in the first place? Why did you make yourself vulnerable like that? Boyce, that was stupid. That's what I would hear from my family, So anyway, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm kicking Mahmoud out. He should be gone. Okay, there we go. All right. So with that said, I think that we can still have diligent efforts to stop sexual harassment in the workplace, but you got to be fair. We can have extraordinary efforts to teach men not to create culture that even makes people think that rape is okay. And we can get men to stop doing that, right? To become better men and to treat women better, because we know we should do that. We're supposed to do that. We can do that, but we got to be fair. We can have diligent effort to penalize people who are accused or convicted of sexual assault, but we got to be fair. We have to take the time to separate the true predators from people who are actually being preyed upon by a predator. When you are making a false accusation against somebody, you are a predator. And what's just happening right now is that nobody's really taking time to investigate. And also, we're assuming that an accusation is the same as actual guilt. There are websites out right now. There are literally websites out right now where you can go and make an anonymous accusation against somebody, put their name out there and say, so-and-so raped me. They have no validation of this, no supporting evidence of this. And people go to these sites and the people whose names are on these lists can't even get jobs now. If they have, business deals with other people, who wants to do business with somebody who might be a rapist? Nobody does. And so I kind of think, obviously, that has to change. But I also think for Black people, until white people stop the rain or it stop raining on you, you might want to have an umbrella, right? Until they stop the rain, carry an umbrella. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you got to be careful. You really have to tell your sons, like Roland Fryer guy. If he was my son, Roland Fryer at Harvard, who's at risk of losing everything, whose reputation's already damaged because of an accusation, I would probably tell him what my dad told me when I went to go teach at Syracuse University. When I went to go teach at Syracuse, my father, he's real and he's raw. He said, don't you fuck nothing on that campus. That's exactly what he said to me. He said, don't get tempted. Don't sleep with any of the women. Don't sleep with a coworker. Definitely don't sleep with a student. Don't do anything that's going to even give them a remote ability to think that, to label you in some way that is not accurate. The other thing I would probably tell Roland, I would have told him, I would have said, look, it's okay if you date these white girls. That's fine. It's your right. But just know that you're entering into a relationship with disproportionate power, which puts you at risk of being abused, right? It's almost like a woman who chooses to date Mike Tyson. She could date Mike Tyson. Maybe she likes big, strong, bulky men who use cocaine and might beat your ass on a Friday night. But she needs to understand that there's a risk in dating a Mike Tyson. He could be your best buddy when he loves you, but if he gets mad at you, he might kill you, right? So basically, for Black men, that's what I say to them. I say, look, if you want to date them, date who you want. I'm not going to tell you who you can fall in love with. I got people in my own family who are in interracial relationships with and nice people, like nothing against them. But the realities of the world say that for a Black man dating a white woman, if she gets mad at you, and she better not have a vindictive bone in her body, because if she's vindictive and she's unethical, or if she is convinced in her own mind that you deserve whatever you get. Think about this, ladies. Ladies will tell you this. Have you ever seen women that just were so mad at a man that they felt that he might not have done nothing illegal, nothing wrong, except maybe break her heart. Maybe he just left the relationship. Have you ever seen women that literally were so mad at him that they literally felt like he deserved whatever he gets, right? Well, there are people out there like that. There are people who get so hurt that all they want to do is see you suffer. All they want to do, they all lie in order to see you suffer. And if you give them the power to destroy you and have nobody else know about it, they're going to use that power. It's almost like, imagine this. Think about this. Ask yourself this question. Some of y'all can answer on the feed if you want to. Some of y'all don't have to answer but I know the answer. Have you ever, like, imagine this. Imagine if you had, a magical power, and the magical power was that if somebody really hurt you or pissed you off, you could wish them dead and they would just die. They would just be gone. Nobody would, there would be no DNA evidence, no witnesses, no connection to you with the crime, no nothing. All you got to do is say, I want them dead. In your head, without even, you ain't got to hire a hitman. Just, you have magical abilities. You can just wish them dead. They just be dead. So I want to ask you this. If you had that power, would you be tempted to use it? Yeah. Yeah. I know I would. Because I done known many a motherfucker who needed some killing. Whose funeral wouldn't have made me drop and shed a single tear. And I know it's a terrible thing to admit. It's hard to admit that. But I felt that way. Right? Not because they broke the law or nothing, but because they did some shit that I thought was unethical or very hurtful, right? But there's a reason why it's a good thing that we don't have that power. Because if everybody had that power, then there'd be a whole lot of dead people out here. Some of y'all will be dead right now. And so when you give a white woman the ability to make an accusation against somebody and destroy them without any accountability whatsoever, that's kind of like giving them a power similar to that. It's not the same as wishing them dead, but you could say, I want to make them suffer. I want him to lose his whole career that he's been working on for 20 years. I want him to lose $1 million. I want him to go to prison. I want him to get raped in prison. Whatever, right? Like you give, when you do that, you're giving someone that level of power. And I don't think anybody should have that kind of power because it would probably be used in unethical ways. So what they're asking you to believe is they're asking you to believe that we can just have an honor system and automatically believe every single person who makes any accusation against anybody, and then nobody's going to abuse that system. Well, that's some bullshit. We know that's not true. That's all I got to say. I'm done. I'm about to go chill out. Don't forget, subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Take a second to do that. Subscribe at drboystv.com. If you want to also connect via text message, where I can send you a text message when I go live, text the word Boyce, BOYCE, to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. I'm losing my voice a little bit. And this week we're going to do that lecture I told you guys about, Return of the Black Dragon, where I'm basically going to take all the research I did in China and lay out a model, lay out a template, a blueprint, where you can take all of the principles that I saw in action in the Chinese economy and apply it to your family. It's Saturday night, 8 p.m., totally free. Come ready to learn, bring your family, make it into an event. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your family for the next 10 generations. I guarantee it. If you apply this, it will work. I have a PhD in finance. I know what I'm talking about. So if you want to join, go to this. Somebody type the URL in so everybody can see it. It's blackdragonfinance.com. That's blackdragonfinance.com. So go to blackdragonfinance.com, sign up, register, come on in. We're going to have some fun. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to be better people when it's done because we're all about solutions at the end of the day. I might bitch and moan and yell and scream and cuss, but at the end of the day, I'm going to solve the damn problem. I'm not going to sit around like a little duck and have somebody kicking me in the ass for my whole life. I'm not built for that. Neither are you. You're not meant to come in second place. You are black. You are kings and queens. You got the power of the melanin, and I want you to go out here and be great. So I love you guys. Talk to you guys soon. And also, if you want to join the League of Intelligent Black People, feel free. Go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. All right, guys, I'm out of here.